Percy the Small Engine is the junior member in Sir Topham Hatt's principal team of engines. Percy is a hard worker and a really useful engine, but his eagerness and cheekiness can sometimes make him very prone to accidents. Sometimes the other engines tease him about this. During the summer, Sir Topham Hatt asked the little green engine to pick up and deliver a very important and very exotic goods train from the mainland. Percy was very pleased. "What will I be pulling, sir?" he asked.
"Your train will be carrying fresh fruits and vegetables, baked goods, flour, milk, and raspberry syrup," smiled the Fat Controller. "You will have the entire day to take it to Alsborough Village, but please make sure the train is delivered safely."
"Yes, sir. I most certainly will, sir." Percy beamed as the Fat Controller stepped into his car and drove away. James, who was secretly jealous that he hadn't been chosen to pull the train, slinked into the shed beside Percy. "Good luck with that goods train of yours tomorrow, Percy," James remarked. "In fact, you're gonna need all the luck you can get, if you want to deliver that train in one piece." "And what's that supposed to mean?" Percy sizzled in reply. "Well, I think it's no secret you haven't exactly the best record with food trains," snickered James. "The food usually ends up all over you, instead of in people's stomachs." "That's not true." "Really? What about that time with Mr. Jolly's chocolate factory? Oh, that was a classic, still cracks me up. Oh, and that time with the treacle at the harbor? Need I remind you of that one? Oh, and what about that time with the fruit and vegetable train, Have you forgotten that one? I do not run a jam factory, Percy. Have you forgot about that one?" "But none of those accidents were my fault," protested Percy. "And that time with the baggage trolley and the jam," finished James. "I have to say, that one was my personal favorite." "Wait just a minute, James," chuffed Thomas cheekily. "I seem to recall that a certain someone had a crate of melons dropped on their head." James snorted and fumed away to collect his own train. But Percy was still feeling very discouraged. What if James was right? What if he was doomed to make the same mistakes all over again? "Don't listen to him, Percy," Thomas soothed, coming up alongside. "You'll be fine tomorrow. Just keep your eyes on the rails and keep those troublesome trucks in line. I just know you can do it." Percy felt better after listening to Thomas. At the very first crack of dawn the next morning, when his fire was ready, Percy steamed out of the shed for his very important mission. Before long, Percy had left the branch line and the big stations behind, and soon he was out in the open countryside. It was only 10 o'clock when he found his goods train in Bridlington goods yard. The train was very long. Percy was undeterred. The trucks were already chittering and giggling. Percy was still undeterred. When he buffered up to the train, he found it was very heavy, but Percy remained undeterred. He was going to deliver the goods train if it took him all night long to do it. "No!" steamed Percy aloud. "I'll deliver this train before sunset. Yes, that's it. I'm going to have this train delivered before noon." I'll show them, Percy puffed proudly to himself. "Come along, you lot, come along, you lot, come along." Percy was making excellent time, but the cars were becoming bored.
So, hey guys, what do you think we're carrying as cargo this time? Something important?" asked one of the trucks. "Nah, if we were carrying important cargo, they would have chosen an important engine," answered another. Percy paid the trucks no attention. He had conversed with troublesome trucks before, and it had always led to trouble. He was most certainly not going to make the same mistake again. "Hey you! Green engine! Percival, right? Perry? Plucky? Does anyone know the name of this engine? He's not acknowledging me."
How should I know what it is? I haven't left the yard since 1955.
Wasn't the green one named Goose or Duck or something?
"No, that's Duck, you idiot. His name is obviously Henry."
Duh.
"But I thought Henry was the blue one and Oliver was the..."
"Percy! My name is Percy. Now be quiet. whistled the little green engine, and gave them a bump. Okay, I was just asking, sheesh. But that didn't satisfy the trucks for long. A few minutes later, they started to sing. 99 troublesome trucks in the yard, 99 troublesome trucks. Take one away on a runaway train, 98 troublesome trucks in the yard, 98 troublesome trucks in the yard, 98 troublesome trucks. Take one away on a runaway train, 97 troublesome trucks in the yard, 97 troublesome trucks in the yard, 97 troublesome trucks. Take one away on a runaway train, 96 troublesome trucks in the yard. You're going to sing that all the way back to Sodor, aren't you? Probably. 96 troublesome trucks in the yard, 96 troublesome trucks.
You'd better pick up the pace there, Perry. Fat Hat might scrap you if this train isn't delivered on time. That's assuming you even have a train left by the time we get there.
Percy decided it was best to keep his eyes on the prize, and soon he had tuned out the noisy, bothersome trucks. He was glad when they reached Vickerstown. That meant their journey was almost half finished, and nothing had gone wrong. Beep, beep, squeaked Percy. Important goods train coming through! But on the station platform, there was a guard waving a red flag. Percy had no choice but to stop. Emily has come off the rails over the points, the guard explained to Percy. You'll be on your way again as soon as we can sort out the mess. Percy was very cross. I'm going to be late! I'm going to be late! He wheezed. Percy and his train were stranded at Vickerstown for over an hour while the workmen cleared away the mess. When the signal for the main line finally dropped, Percy bolted out of the station as fast as his wheels would carry him.
Whoa, Percy! Whoa!
Percy was fed up with the trucks and their nonsense. Quiet! I'm trying to concentrate, he hissed. We're getting to Alsborough Village and we're getting there on time, so no more tricks! The silly cars were surprised and quickly piped down. With every ounce of steam he had, Percy bucketed along to make up for lost time. Unfortunately, the signalman hadn't been told about the delay at Vickerstown. Percy's signal was green, but it should have been set at danger. Suddenly, Percy and the trucks heard a familiar whistle from around the bend. It was James! Percy, he exclaimed, you're here, but how did you— Sorry, James, can't talk now, called Percy without looking away from the tracks. Must keep time, you know. Then they heard another whistle. It was Thomas, and he was approaching the junction. Peep, peep, shrieked Thomas, fizzling fireboxes. Watch out, Percy, look out! Percy tried to pull the rest of his train over the junction, but it was too late. Squashed fruit flew in all directions. James was horrified. Eee! He screamed as blueberries were catapulted over his boiler. Oh my gosh, you guys just demolished David! Cried one of the vans. Hard luck, Dave. Always knew you were a bit weak, snickered another truck. The trucks were giddy and giggling. Thomas was shocked. James was gobsmacked. But poor Percy was so sad that he nearly cried. The Fat Controller soon arrived with Edward and the breakdown train to the scene of destruction. I'm so sorry, sir, Percy quivered. I didn't get distracted, sir. Honest. I was just trying to be on time, sir. And I can still be a really useful engine, sir. Honest I can. And
Percy, it's all right,
smiled the Fat Controller.
Were you trying your absolute hardest to get the train delivered on time?
Well, yes, but I—
Did you find your way to Bridlington and back again?
Well, yes. But didn't I—
Did you let the troublesome trucks distract you?
No, sir. Of course not.
Then there's nothing to be sorry for, Percy,
replied Sir Topham Hatt gently.
I know you were trying your very best. The station master at Vickerstown told me everything. It wasn't your fault the signal was green. It was that blasted signalman. I really must fire him. He's fallen asleep one time too many.
But Percy was puzzled. But, sir, I failed, sir. I failed again. I just can't deliver food trains, sir. The food always ends up all over me.
The Fat Controller laughed. You are wrong, Percy. It appears to me the food landed all over James this time.
Nice one, James.
Shut up, Thomas. And sometimes, Percy, what makes a really useful engine is not whether or not they succeed. Sometimes, a really useful engine is the one who does their best, even when all the odds are against them. And you, Percy, most certainly are a really useful engine.
While Edward took care of the passengers, Thomas was re-railed, James was cleaned, and both engines shunted Percy back home. Well, Well, James, chuckled Thomas. I know the Fat Controllers threatened to paint you blue before, but I didn't think it would happen in this way. Aight, first off, blueberries are purple, Thomas. Let's be real. And second, Percy, however did you manage to get that train all the way from Bridlington? That thing was huge! Did those trucks give you any trouble? Of course they didn't, answered Thomas. Percy knows much better than that. Well, I'm sorry I was rude to you, Percy. I didn't really think you would have an accident. I was just jealous. But it's a good thing I didn't take the train, though, James grinned. Those silly trucks would have knocked me right off the rails. Percy couldn't help but smile. And buffer to buffer, the three friends puffed home. Oh, the pain. Oh, agony. It's going so cold. I can't feel my frames. I can't feel my buffers.
Whose idea was this?
Well, it was nice sort of knowing you guys.
Goodbye, you idiots.